And I'm finally producing part 2 of our 2018 Holopaw trip. There's kind of a reason for the delay. I went to produce part 2 and I realized that my Sena Prism Tube camera at the time didn't record a thing. I know it was turning on and off, some kind of a glitch, and at the time I figured it may just be a bad card in it, and I tried swapping the card out to get it working again. But as you know, if you've watched my videos, I then did a review on a 2019 Ural, and my Sena Prism Tube died again, and that's when I finally convinced Sena to replace it under warranty. The irony is I don't use that camera anymore. While they were replacing it under warranty, I bought a new helmet cam that I'm much happier with, and hopefully that problem is gone. But that's why part 2 is kind of sparse on footage. I used the little camera to record in the shop. I just held it in my hand to show you what Kenny was doing when he replaced the seal, and I used it all around the camp, you know, like an idiot, like it was working, when I could have just tossed it in the lake and been much happier. But that's why part 2 is so slow, and there's not a lot of footage here. This has been almost a year ago at this point, but I did want to go ahead and do the part 2. So right after we got up in the morning, we rode on over to get breakfast at a little restaurant just before you turn onto 441 to go down to Holopaw Ural, where Gene is, where the rally is going to be. And we always like stopping there. The lady that runs it's really nice, recognizes us even after several years. You know, we go down there maybe once a year, but she recognizes us when we come in, so it's kind of nice. But I think this restaurant may have closed now. I'm not sure. We'll find out when we go back this December. And we had a good breakfast, and then after that we headed on over to Holopaw, and I pulled the rig in so Ken could take a look at it. And what we ended up with, Kid said yeah, he can replace the seal, ended up replacing the alternator as well because it was bad, it was seizing up. And what we did was traded workload. We went back there and we helped put the tents up for the rally and all while he did the work here. So it turned out really good. Turns out he'd rather work on motorcycles than put tents up, and so we had a good time. Again, since my little camera died, I'll show you what we got. I took several pictures around. We had a really good turnout for 2018. And Sigmund, my ride, his twin showed up. A little bit older model, but a white retro, so we had a good talk about that. We had a terrific lunch, and this is a little earlier in the day. You can see Gene's there, Ken's there, and we just had a blast. I enjoy going to the rallies, enjoy the event that goes on. And this year, 2018, I took my drone with me. I actually have a little Spark drone that I bought used off of a gentleman for about half the new price at the time, because he could never get it working right. Every time he tried to fly it, it would just fly away. It would take off. And he said, fortunately, it hit a tree a couple of times. He was able to recover it. So he put it on Facebook and he said, come buy this thing. And I did. And I figured out it just wasn't calibrated. You have to do this full calibration routine. And I will admit, it took me close to an hour to get it all set up, connecting to the app correctly. It would fail to connect. It was not intuitive. It was not straightforward. It kept flying off in any direction. I recalibrated it 5 or 6 times. I finally got on the forum at DJI and found a thread about some of the difficulties, read through that, and one of the guys there responded to a post, and we got into a private chat. And with his help, we worked it all out. It's something to do with a bug and something that was stopping the calibration from working. Anyway, we got it working. And it's been great since then. The only problem is I don't use it a lot because you can't fly it anywhere. I can here because it's private property, and Gene said, sure, you can fly it. But I can't fly it on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I can't fly it in state parks. I can't fly it in federal parks. I can't fly it along the highways. You can't fly it anywhere legally, just about. So I don't use it a lot. It's a neat little thing to have, and I've flown it around the property here, but honestly, to take it with you on trips within the United States and use it just about everywhere you would want to fly this thing and use it is technically illegal. And I just don't want to take a chance with that. You know, it's not worth it. But you can see, there were dogs running around. We had the little jousting contest where you run around and around the lake and you spear little hoops that are hanging up. They're actually hose clamps, and you take them off with the jousting thing, and then you have to ride around and put them back on. They make that part of the contest so the rings get hung back up without them having to walk around and hang them back up. But anyway, timed event. You can see there's another drone flying over there. That's actually a professional drone flyer. He flies much better and smoother than I do. And anytime his drone was low, I went high, and anytime his drone was high, I went low, just so that the air traffic, there was no chance of us running into each other. So we didn't have any problems with that, no aerial accidents or anything. But hope you enjoy what happened there. Hope to see you there this year. We are going to be going back this year, and as of right now, it's a little over a month away. And have fun all over. Hopefully I'll have a camera that works this time. But it is a shame I can't use the drone more. It gives you a unique perspective, and I'll try to break it out when I can and use it, but otherwise you won't see very much drone footage. Like all things, the rally had to come to an end, unfortunately, and we headed home. When we made it into Georgia is when the rain started. This rain is actually not too terribly bad compared to what it was later on. And we did encounter an accident along the way. There are 3 of us riding here, and we're staying fairly close together. It's obvious we're riding as a group. Anyone seeing us should be able to easily figure that out. But we sat in this traffic probably close to 40 minutes before we made it up to the accident part. And again, you can see us riding together. This guy over here in the van, or SUV or whatever that thing is, he's just being rude. We're trying to stay together as a group. We're motorcycles, and when you see that, please just let us stay together. We're communicating with each other, watching out for each other, and we're riding together. You should regard us, when we're that close together and riding, just regard us as one vehicle and stay the heck out from in between us. Because all it's going to do is slow you down. Now that he has separated us, I am much more cautious. I'm talking to her. I'm talking to James, who's in I can't really talk to him, but I'm looking for James, who's in the back. And all you're actually doing is slowing yourself down when you break up a motorcycle group, because we're going to do whatever we can to get back together. So you can see he immediately shoots around me because I'm still going so slow, waiting for her to catch up. But it's just rude to separate motorcycle riders. Don't do it. And as we continued to ride, the rain got worse and worse. You can see the ambulance from the accident going there. I'll actually mention that again. Pay attention to that ambulance. But the rain got horrendous at one point, and the water was standing on the roadway an inch or 2 deep. It was splashing all over it. And I had at the time no idea there was a vulnerability in the ECUs on these rigs to moisture. That was news to me. I had no idea that it was a known issue. You can see the rain's getting even heavier, and we're just riding along in this heavy rain, and we thought everything was going fine. We're doing between 45, 50 mile an hour. We're trying to keep our distance a little bit rather than just jam all up on each other in case something happens with poor visibility. I didn't want to stop and have her run over me, but suddenly she radioed in. Now I'm up here about at the exit when she radios right now, and she says something's wrong. So I came across the divider here, and I'm asking her What's wrong? She said, I don't know, it's shaking real bad. It's not running right. I've lost power. I can't get it to go. And I didn't know if we were going to have to actually stop here or if she could keep it going. So I eased on down the ramp. James is behind her, and he can't hear us. He's not on an intercom. He has a Cardo intercom, or he had one, but I don't know. He just doesn't install it, but that's James's problem. Anyway, we came on down the ramp, and there's a medical facility here. It looked closed, but it actually wasn't. It has a emergency ER type thing in the front, and I think that was open. I'm not sure, but that's where we're trying to get to, is that parking lot. And I'll just hush here and let you listen to her rig run a little bit. It was coming and going at this point, but it had definitely lost a lot of power. So you can hear it's kind of, I don't know, hammery. Is that a word, hammery? You could just listen to it and tell something was wrong. You can see that the check engine light is on, and obviously something is wrong here. So we spent some time investigating in the parking lot to try and figure out what it might be. Meanwhile, that ambulance shows up, and we think it's the same ambulance. So how it got behind us, I don't know. I don't know what the story with that one is or why it was there, but it looked like the same ambulance, but then it turned and pulled on out. So we don't know what the deal with that was. So at this point, James went on. No need for him to hang around. He had to ride on up to Macon, and I knew it was something making it unrideable, so I called my son, who brought the truck down, to come pick the CT up and ride it back. We were about 150 miles away from home, and we have a truck and trailer, so you can see my wife there's all sad that her rig is broke down. She really does enjoy riding, and she was kind of sad that it was broke down and didn't make it back, but we did get the truck. And while we were waiting, we went over to the little Waffle House and sat and waited for my son to show up with the truck. But then after that, it was diagnostics, and the right side ECU was replaced. Sorry this wasn't a better video, but I did want to get part 2 out and tell you what happened. We did make it home, albeit half of the rigs were on a truck when we got there, or at least our 2. And I hope you like the videos. There's more coming. Like and subscribe, and we'll make more videos.